The distress beacon died exactly 47 seconds after Commander Elena Torres received it. She watched the timestamp freeze on her display, her jaw tight, while the bridge of the UNS Valiant fell into the kind of silence that precedes violence. The message had been short. Coordinates. A single phrase that made her blood freeze. "They're coming for the child." No explanation. No context. Just those 6 words and then nothing. "Plot a jump to those coordinates," Elena ordered, her voice cutting through the quiet like a blade. "Maximum burn. I want us there in 20 minutes. Her navigator, Lieutenant James Parker, didn't argue. When a colony went dark that fast, you didn't ask questions. You moved. The jump felt longer than it was. Elena stood at the viewport, watching the streaked stars of faster-than-light travel, her mind cycling through scenarios. Pirates. Slavers. Corporate raiders. The frontier colonies were always vulnerable, always one disaster away from extinction. But something about that message felt different, personal, desperate. When they dropped back into normal space, the colony world of Haven's Reach spread out before them like a wound. The settlements were intact, but wrong. No lights, no traffic, no radio chatter, just the hollow silence of abandonment. "Life signs?" Elena asked. Parker worked his console, his frown deepening. "Scattered. Faint. Most of the population is gone, Commander. I'm reading. Bodies. A lot of them." Elena's stomach turned. "Get a team down there. Full combat loadout. Something happened here, and I want to know what." The drop shuttle cut through the atmosphere like a falling star, and Elena was the first one out when it touched down in the colony's central square. The place looked like a war zone. Buildings were scorched, streets were torn up, and everywhere, there were signs of a fight, but not a human fight. The scorch marks were too precise, the destruction too controlled. This was something else. "Spread out," Elena commanded, her rifle raised. "Find survivors. Find answers." They found the medbay 15 minutes later, and that's when everything changed. The entrance was barricaded with furniture, metal plating, anything the colonists could find. The doors had been welded shut from the inside. Someone had written a message on the wall in what looked like dried blood. Not her. Elena's heart hammered as her team cut through the barricade. The doors hissed open, and the smell hit her first. Copper. Death. Fear. Inside, the medbay looked like humanity's last stand. Bodies lay scattered across the floor. Colonists who had died with weapons in their hands and determination on their faces. They'd formed a circle around the medical pod in the center of the room, a defensive ring that had held even in death. And in that pod, motionless and pale, lay a little girl. Elena moved closer, her breath catching. The child couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Dark hair, small hands. Her medical readout showed a heartbeat, slow but steady, and brain activity that suggested a deep coma. But it was the wounds that made Elena's hands shake. Defensive wounds. Cuts and burns across her arms, her shoulders, her face. This child had fought something. "Commander!" one of her team called out. "You need to see this!" Elena tore her gaze away from the girl and moved to where her soldier stood over one of the bodies. The colonist was a woman, maybe 40, wearing a wedding ring and clutching a plasma rifle. Her eyes were still open, fixed on the medical pod with an expression that Elena would never forget. Protection. Even in death, she was still protecting that child. "Who is she?" Elena whispered. "Colony records say her name is Maya Chen," Parker replied, his voice tight. "Parents are listed as deceased. No other family on file except..." He paused, his face going pale. "Except a younger brother. Lucas. Age 6. No body found." Elena's mind raced. A little girl in a coma. A colony slaughtered. A brother missing. And that message, "They're coming for the child." She was about to order a full search when the proximity alarms screamed. Ships! Massive ones. Dropping out of faster-than-light travel directly above the colony. Elena sprinted back to the shuttle, her team right behind her. "Get us back to the Valiant. Now!" The shuttle barely made it to the hangar before the alien vessels filled every viewport. Elena had seen a lot of ships in her 15 years of service, but these were different. Predatory. Sleek hulls covered in what looked like scaled armor, weapon ports that gaped like hungry mouths. And there were dozens of them. "Hail incoming," her communications officer announced, her voice shaking. Elena straightened her uniform and nodded. "Put it through." The view screen flickered, and Elena found herself staring at something that made her survival instincts scream. The alien was massive, easily 8 feet tall, with a body built for hunting. Its face was angular, almost feline, with eyes that gleamed with predatory intelligence. When it spoke, its voice was a growl that the translator barely managed to render into words. "I am Vrakneth, Alpha of the Kaldreth Pack. You harbor a murderer. Surrender the human child Maya Chen for retribution under galactic law, or your vessel in this world will be reduced to ash." Elena felt every eye on the bridge turn to her. The Kaldreth. She knew that name. Every spacer did. They were apex predators, a species that had built an empire on strength and dominance. They didn't negotiate. They didn't compromise. They took what they wanted, and anyone who resisted became a cautionary tale. But Elena looked at that alien monster and thought about a little girl lying unconscious in a medbay, covered in defensive wounds, protected by colonists who died rather than give her up. "No," Elena said simply. The bridge went silent. Vrakneth's eyes narrowed, and for a moment Elena thought he might attack immediately. But instead, he leaned forward, his expression almost curious. "You refuse? You understand what we are, human. Your species is prey. You do not deny an alpha their right to justice." "Justice?" Elena's voice hardened. "That child is 8 years old and fighting for her life in a medical pod. Whatever you think she did, she's not capable of standing trial. Under human law, she's protected. I won't hand her over." Vrakneth's laugh was like stones grinding together. "One of our young lies dead because of her actions. She attacked without provocation, without honor. This is not negotiable. You have one of your hours to comply, or we will take her from the ashes of your ship." The transmission cut off, leaving Elena staring at a screen full of enemy vessels. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage. "Get me Dr. Cross," she snapped. "I want to know everything about that girl's condition, and someone find the colony's data logs. If the Kaldreth are claiming Maya attacked their young, I want to know exactly what happened." Dr. Benjamin Cross was already in the medbay when Elena arrived, his scanner moving over Maya's small form with methodical precision. He looked up when she entered, his expression grim. "Commander, this child has been through hell. Multiple plasma burns, 3 cracked ribs, a fractured arm, and severe cranial trauma. Whatever she fought hard." "Can you wake her?" Cross shook his head. "Her brain is protecting itself. The trauma was too severe. If I force her awake now, she might not survive. She needs time." Time. The one thing Elena didn't have. "Find me something, Doctor. Anything that tells me what happened here." It was Parker who found the colony logs buried in the main computer's backup systems. Elena stood in the control center, watching the recordings play out, and with each second her rage grew hotter. The first log showed Maya and her brother Lucas playing in one of the colony's parks. They were laughing, chasing each other, 2 kids who had no idea their world was about to end. Then the log jumped forward 3 days, and everything changed. A Kaldreth youth, maybe the equivalent of a teenager, had arrived on Haven's Reach claiming to be a cultural exchange student. The colony had welcomed him, proud to host a representative from such a powerful species, but the logs showed what happened when the adults weren't watching. The young Kaldreth had been hunting. Elena watched in horror as the logs revealed the truth. The alien had been stalking human children, treating them like prey, like sport. 3 kids had gone missing before anyone realized what was happening. And when the colony confronted him, the Kaldreth claimed it was his right, that humans were beneath his kind, that hunting them was no different than hunting animals. The colony had tried to contact authorities, tried to resolve it peacefully, but the young Kaldreth had grown bolder. And then he'd gone after Lucas. The final log showed Maya finding her brother cornered in an alley, the Kaldreth looming over him with claws extended. And Elena watched as that 8-year-old girl did something that would change everything. She fought back. Maya had grabbed a piece of metal rebar and swung it with everything she had. The Kaldreth, surprised by the attack, had stumbled. Maya hadn't stopped. She'd hit him again and again, screaming for Lucas to run. The young alien had activated some kind of weapon, burning Maya's arms and face, but she'd kept fighting, kept protecting her brother. And when the Kaldreth finally fell, dead from his injuries, Maya had collapsed beside him. That's when the adult Kaldreth had arrived. That's when the slaughter began. The colonists had fought to protect Maya, had died to keep the aliens from taking her, and in the end, they'd succeeded just long enough for that distress beacon to go out. Elena watched the log's end and felt something cold settle in her chest. This wasn't justice the Kaldreth wanted. This was revenge for being challenged, for having their superiority questioned by a child. "Commander," Parker said quietly. 30 minutes left. Elena turned to her crew, saw the anger and fear warring on their faces, and made her decision. Send a message to every human ship within 3 jumps. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the Kaldreth want to execute an 8-year-old girl for defending her brother. And tell them, she paused, her voice dropping to something deadly. Tell them the UNS Valiant will not comply. If they want to stand with us, we'll hold this position. If not, I understand. Parker hesitated. Commander, that's mutiny. You're countermanding direct orders from... I'm protecting one of our own, Elena interrupted. That's not mutiny. That's who we are. Send the message. The message went out across every frequency, carried on tight beam transmissions to every human vessel in range. Elena didn't know if anyone would come. Didn't know if her career was about to end in court-martial or death. But 15 minutes later, the first ship jumped in. Then another. Then 5 more. Within the hour, 47 human vessels surrounded Haven's Reach, from massive cruisers to tiny mining ships. Each one transmitted the same message. We stand with the Valiant. Elena felt tears sting her eyes, but she blinked them away. This wasn't over. This was just beginning. Time's up, Commander, her weapons officer announced. The Kaldreth ships moved into attack formation, and Elena opened a channel to the fleet. All vessels, shield overlap formation around the colony. Protect that med bay at all costs. Her crew moved with precision born of training and desperation. The Valiant settled into position directly above the building where Maya lay, and around them the human fleet formed a wall of steel and determination. Vraknith's face appeared on screen again, his expression twisted with rage. You dare defy us? You would die for one child. Yes, Elena said simply. That's what humanity does. Then you will die. The channel cut and the Kaldreth opened fire. The battle was brutality itself. Plasma fire lit up the night sky as human ships took hit after hit, their shields flaring and failing. The UNS Valiant shook with each impact, and Elena gripped her command chair while her crew fought with everything they had. But they weren't trying to win. They were trying to survive, to hold, to protect. Shield integrity at 40%, someone shouted. Reroute power from weapons, Elena commanded. All energy to shields. We just need to... The explosion cut her off. One of the smaller human ships, a mining vessel named the Copper Dawn, took a direct hit that shattered its hull. Elena watched it die, watched the debris scatter across space, and knew that crew had chosen to be here. Had chosen to die for a child they'd never met. Commander! It was Dr. Cross on the comm, his voice urgent. Maya's awake. She's asking for her brother. Elena's heart stopped. What? She woke up 30 seconds ago. The first thing she said was, "Is Lucas safe?" "Commander, we still haven't found the boy." Everything clicked into place. Lucas. Still alive somewhere in the colony. Still hiding. All teams, search for the boy, Elena ordered. 6 years old, answers to Lucas. Find him now. It was one of the security teams that located him, hiding in a ventilation shaft in the residential sector. The boy was terrified, traumatized, but alive. And when they told him his sister was awake, he started crying. "I want to see her," Lucas sobbed. "I want to see Maya. We'll get you to her," the security officer promised. "Just hold on." They brought Lucas to the med bay under heavy guard, and Elena watched through the security feeds as the boy ran to his sister's pod. Maya was weak, barely able to lift her head, but when she saw her brother, her face transformed. "You're okay," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I kept you safe." Lucas threw his arms around her, careful of her injuries, and cried into her shoulder, "You saved me. You saved me." And that's when everything changed. The Kaldreth had been monitoring human transmissions, watching through hacked security feeds. Vrakneth saw what Elena saw. Two children clinging to each other, one who had sacrificed everything to protect the other. The attack stopped. Elena blinked at the sudden silence, her ears ringing from the constant barrage. "Status? They've ceased fire, Commander. All Kaldreth vessels are holding position." Elena didn't waste time questioning it. She opened a channel to Vrakneth. "Why did you stop?" The Alpha appeared on screen, but his expression was different now. Confused, almost disturbed. "What are they doing?" Vrakneth asked, his voice lacking its earlier certainty. "What?" "The children. The female fought to protect the male. This we understand. But she was wounded, dying. Why does she still protect him? Why does he return to her when she cannot defend herself?" Elena stared at the alien, realizing with growing horror that he genuinely didn't understand. The Kaldreth were predators, pack hunters. But they didn't have this. They didn't have whatever it was that made a sister fight impossible odds for her brother. That made her first words upon waking a question about his safety. "Because he's her brother," Elena said quietly. "Because she loves him." Love. Vrakneth spoke the word like it was alien to him. Maybe it was. "Among my kind, the weak are culled. The strong survive. This is natural order. But you're young." He paused, struggling. "Your young protect each other. Even the strong protect the weak. This is inefficient, illogical." "Maybe," Elena agreed. "But it's who we are. And your ships." Vrakneth's eyes narrowed. 47 vessels. Most had no connection to this colony. They came anyway. They die anyway. For one small human they do not know. This is madness. "No," Elena said, her voice hardening. "This is humanity. We protect our cubs. All of them. Not just our own. Because if we don't, who will?" Vrakneth was silent for a long moment, and Elena could see him processing this, trying to fit it into a worldview built on strength and dominance. The Kaldreth were predators. They understood territory, hierarchy, power. But they didn't understand this. Couldn't comprehend a species that would sacrifice everything for their weakest members. "You came for a body," Elena continued, her voice broadcasting not just to Vrakneth but to every ship in the system. "You came to claim retribution for your young who died while hunting our children. You expected us to surrender her because you're stronger, because you're apex predators, because that's how your world works." She leaned forward, her eyes locked on Vrakneth's. "But you found something else. You found a species that doesn't calculate survival in terms of individual strength. We're strong because we're together, because we protect each other, because a little girl will fight a monster to save her brother, and strangers will die to protect that little girl, and that's not weakness." Her voice dropped to something fierce. "That's what makes us dangerous." Vrakneth's expression shifted, something that might have been respect flickering across his features. "You are prey that believes itself predator." "No," Elena corrected. "We're family, and you threatened our family." The channel was still open, broadcasting to every ship, human and Kaldreth alike. Elena could see her words landing, could see the ripple effect spreading through both fleets. "You have shown me something unexpected," Vrakneth admitted slowly. "My young violated your territory, hunted your cubs, and when one defended herself, we came for blood. This is our way, but I see now that your way is different." Elena held her breath, not daring to hope. "However," Vrakneth continued, "tradition demands." He never finished the sentence. One of the Kaldreth's ships, a smaller vessel commanded by a younger Alpha, opened fire on the medbay. The shot tore through space, aimed directly at the building where Maya and Lucas huddled together. Elena's world went into slow motion. She saw the plasma bolt streak toward its target, saw her weapons officer's hand move toward the countermeasure controls. Too slow, too late. And then she saw something impossible. Every human ship moved simultaneously. Not in formation, not following orders. Just moved, driven by the same desperate instinct. They threw themselves between the shot and the medbay, shields overlapping, creating a wall of metal and energy and human determination. The plasma bolt hit the UNS Garrison, a cruiser that had jumped in from 3 systems away. The ship's shields flared, held for a moment, then collapsed. The hull split like paper, venting atmosphere and debris, but the shot didn't reach the medbay. The Garrison died, taking 53 crew with it. 53 people who had made the same choice as everyone else: protect the children. Elena watched the cruiser break apart, her heart breaking with it. But she didn't order a retreat, didn't even consider it. "Hold position," she commanded, her voice steel. "Hold the line." Vraknef's roar shook the comm system. Elena saw him move on screen, saw him strike the younger Alpha who had fired, sending the alien crashing to the deck. The transmission picked up his words, translated into harsh human syllables. "We came for justice, not slaughter. We came to punish a murderer, but I see no murderer. I see a cub who defended her family, and I see a species that will die to protect their young, even those not of their blood." He turned back to the camera, his eyes meeting Elena's. "We are Kaldreth. We are Apex. We have hunted across 1,000 worlds, and we have never encountered prey that fights like this, that sacrifices like this." His voice dropped. "You are not prey, human. You are something we have no word for. Something that becomes more dangerous when defending the helpless, not less. Your young female killed one of ours, yes, but our young killed yours first. By our own laws, the debt is paid." Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. "We withdraw," Vraknef announced. "And I declare before the Galactic Councils that humanity is not prey. They, something else. Something to be respected, perhaps even feared." The Kaldreth fleet began moving away, their massive ships turning toward jump points. But Vraknef's face remained on screen a moment longer. "Protect your cubs well, Commander. They are fortunate to have such fierce guardians." The transmission ended, and the alien ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving the human fleet alone above Haven's reach. Elena sank into her command chair, her hands shaking. Around her, the bridge crew sat in stunned silence. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Within seconds, the entire bridge was cheering, crying, celebrating a victory they'd never expected to survive. But Elena wasn't celebrating. She was thinking about the Garrison and the Copper Dawn, and all the other ships that had taken hits. About the crews who had died protecting children they'd never met. "Give me a casualty count," she said quietly, "and prepare search and rescue operations. I want every survivor found." Parker nodded, his own eyes wet. "Commander, what you did today." "What we did," Elena corrected. "What humanity did. We showed them what we are." She stood and walked to the viewport, looking down at the colony where, in a med bay surrounded by the bodies of heroes, 2 children held each other and cried tears of relief. "Get medical teams down there," Elena ordered. "Maya needs proper treatment, and Lucas needs counseling. And I want a full investigation into every colonist who died defending them. They deserve to be remembered." "Already on it, Commander," Cross replied over the comm. "Maya's asking for you, by the way. She wants to thank the person who protected her." Elena's throat tightened. Tell her she protected herself. She's the hero here. All I did was make sure her sacrifice mattered. But she went down to the medbay anyway, because some things you have to see with your own eyes." Maya was sitting up when Elena arrived. Lucas curled against her side. The girl's face was bandaged, her arms wrapped in regenerative sleeves. But her eyes were clear and aware. When she saw Elena, she tried to sit up straighter, but Elena waved her back down. "Easy, soldier." "Whoa. You've earned your rest." Maya's lips quirked in a small smile. "Are we safe? Is Lucas safe?" "Yes. The Kaldreth are gone. You're both safe." Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. "I couldn't let them hurt him. He's my brother. I couldn't. You didn't, Elena said firmly, kneeling beside the pod. You saved him. You fought when it was impossible. And you won. Do you understand that? You won. Lucas lifted his head, his small voice breaking the moment. Everyone died because of us. All those people. Elena felt her heart crack. She reached out, gently touching the boy's shoulder. No, Lucas. Everyone lived because of you. Because your sister showed the galaxy what humanity really is. What we'll do to protect each other. Those people didn't die because of you. They chose to stand with you because that's what we do. That's what makes us strong. She looked at Maya, seeing the weight of trauma in eyes too young for such burdens. You did what you had to do to protect your family. Never apologize for that. Never doubt that it was right. Maya nodded, fresh tears streaming down her face, and Elena stood. She had reports to file, ships to repair, families to notify. The work of aftermath was just beginning. But as she walked out of that medbay, Elena carried with her the image of two children holding each other, alive because humanity had refused to sacrifice their own. Because 47 ships had chosen to stand together. Because a little girl had fought a monster and won. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The Kaldreth had come expecting prey and found something they couldn't comprehend. A species that valued their weakest members as much as their strongest. That measured power, not in individual might, but in collective. They'd come to claim a cub's motionless body and discovered what humanity truly is. Not prey, not predators, but family. And family never surrenders its own.